The Game Boy Advance was revolutionary for one reason: having an amazing experience on handheld. There were some outstanding JRPGs for this system, which is basically its best performance-wise, and the new ways Nintendo could handle their IPs on a colorful handheld. This is what the Game Boy Advance is known for primarily, but there are lots of interesting ideas that into games that you might have never heard of. If you enjoy, please go and subscribe and turn on the notifications for more gaming content with Nintendo. Now, to give some more detail into this video, I'm looking for games that push the boundaries of the Game Boy Advance. I try to keep it new and fresh by not putting too much of one style of genre or just all 3D games, so without further ado, ATV Thunder Ridge Riding. ATV Thunder Ridge Riders is a beautiful example of what the GBA could do. Now, if you think this image right here is ugly, then you're right, it's a really ugly game. But that's not what I'm focusing on here. What I do want to point out is the actual world. The racing level is an open world level with vertical mountains and all types of changes and paths. Now, graphic wise, gameplay wise, and even sound wise, the overall game is horse crud, but that doesn't matter. When life hands you lemons, you sell them to buy oranges. Nobody likes lemons, and that's what ATV Thunder Ridge Rider did. It took what it had and then it made something out of it. All these design choices are trash, except for the fact that you can drive up cliffs. That might not even seem spectacular by any means, but for the Game Boy Advance this is super uncommon. All of the other racing games for the console follows this Super Mario Kart format of having 2D sprites race on a flat 2D plane with either subtle amounts of 3D or just a perspective. The same goes for the first person shooters on the Game Boy Advance. So this game shows the potential of the hardware. It is really a unique game considering the limits, but at the end of the day, it's just another dirt bike game that doesn't even control very well. This next game might have more appeal to the general audience, but it's Yoshi's Topsy Turvy, or Yoshi's Universal Gravitation if you want to be scientific with it. Topsy Turvy is actually a game I grew up with, but soon lost without a trace. I have no idea where it went. The cartridge itself is very different compared to other Game Boy Advance games. It's green and it has a thicker pack on its top. This of course is for the gameplay, which is self-explanatory in the title. You tilt your Game Boy and it tilts in-game. Wow, who'd have thought? The core game is it's a Yoshi game, alright. Yoshi games are a casual, laid-back experience, and it's fun like the Mario and Kirby games, without as much stress as the Mario games. So with the unusual controls, it fits perfect for Yoshi. The tilt controls are what makes this a goofy experience, and although it might not work for the long run, it was created for the time, and it's crazy to think it happened on the Game Boy Advance. For the DS it makes sense, but Game Boy not so much. Nintendo will always be the first one to make new and unique things, whether it's destined to fail or not. Yeah, this is probably the worst Yoshi game of all time, so what? They made it anyways, and the tilt feature was one of a kind on the Game Boy. That deserves props. Boktai, The Sun Is in Your Hands is a game by Konami that literally means what the title says. The sun is in your hand. The game allowed a solar sensor function charge from the actual sun into the palm of your hands, which is your Game Boy. Boktai is an RPG style game with a very well designed world and of course the weirdest gimmick to exist for a game. Yes, to play this game you have to be outside. You can charge up weapons and your powers through the solar sensor on the game cartridge and enjoy the game. If you are the type of kid to play under the blankets with a backlight, well that's cool, but screw you, the game wants you to play outside. The actual game is pretty great. Hideo Kojima never makes complete failures of games, so from what I know, it'll be a fun experience, you know. If you ever decide to buy a Game Boy Advance, buy this specific game, and then decide to go outside on a sunny day that'll most likely be hot, just bring some water. Before I talk about the final game, I would like to add in a bonus game. Super Mario Advance 4 Super Mario Bros. 3 actually had some cool attachments to it. The game had additional playtime if you had e-reader cards. Now I assume everyone would know already what these are, but if you don't, they are basically DLC but on real cards that Nintendo would make for the previous games. Just like the Animal Crossing amiibo cards, but for Super Mario Bros. 3, they unlocked all types of power-ups for Mario, or if you're playing Luigi, another card unlocked a video that shows Mario collecting coins, which is really random and you might have to look that up for yourself. And then the best e-reader card unlocks almost 40 levels for you to play straight away. I didn't want to exactly put it in the main list, but I thought it was too cool to not tell you guys. So the final game we have is something you might know. Driver 3. Yes, I know why. Driver 3, why is the game on the list? Roxx, this makes no sense. It's just a driving game. You already have a racing game, so what gives? But I'll tell you, sir, this game is something else. Driver 3 GBA is a port and it's amazing. While the game itself style-wise is boring, and opening up the game for the first time was actual garbage, but the gameplay is unlike any other Game Boy Advance game I've ever played. For a handheld title of this generation, they really made a workable title for a 3D third-person game. You can walk around, shoot, and jump, or you can just get in your car and drive around an entire city with modeled buildings and beautiful car models. Although the original PS2 game is a more superior fleshed out version, the GBA port feels like a proper port in every aspect. It has the same core gameplay, effectively uses controls, and has similar graphics whether it be the style or the actual comparison to the original. It's safe to say that the Driver 3 port has all of these factors, and that's also why I put it at the end of the list. It shows off what the Game Boy Advance can actually do, port-wise, graphic-wise, and just limitation-wise. It's not just a colorful platformer like Wario Land or Metroid Fusion. It can do weird games like Driver 3, and that's all I need in life. So hey, thank you for watching my video. If you enjoyed, laugh, or even learned something, please subscribe now and turn on the bell to watch all my future uploads. I make a lot of Nintendo related content, and lately I've been dabbling in tons of Game Boy Advance games and cool accessories, so come along with my journey. Now it's time to 100% Driver 3. Let's go, baby!